It all started on the 24th of February 2024. The Yasa Jupiter, sailing from Odessa to Istanbul, Marshall Islands flag, 8 Egyptians, 11 Filipinos on board, struck by a missile. That was the first indication that commercial shipping may no longer be safe from war. Within the first few days, the Millennial Spirit, the Namura Queen, and the Head were also targeted and attacked. The next milestone was on the 19th of November 2023. The Galaxy Leader, multinational crew, Bahamas flag, Japanese operator, was attacked because an Israeli businessman had purportedly links with one of the companies that owned the vessel. 25 crew, mixed nationality, were held hostage for over 1 year. They were released when there was a peace deal between Israel and Palestine. Further to it, the Red Sea instability, the rerouting around the Cape, and the divided attention of the world's navies. All of these together have increased piracy incidents all across the world. In the piracy-prone areas, Somali pirates in recent days have caught 4 vessels and 23 crew members have been kidnapped. Merchant ships are designed for cargo, fuel economy, commercial operation. They are not designed to withstand military. A $20,000 drone can destroy a multi-$100 million vessel. Every day, while most of the world sleeps peacefully, thousands of merchant seafarers sail directly into conflict zones. Not soldiers, not warships, just ordinary civilian mariners carrying the cargo that keeps the world alive. Food, fuel, medicine, cars, containers, grain, and yet today, merchant ships are being attacked by missiles, drones, pirates, mines, and armed groups with increasing frequency. The world notices when the oil prices rise. The world notices when supply chain collapse. But very few people notice the seafarer standing alone on the bridge at 2 a.m. watching radar targets while missile warnings are being transmitted over the VHF. This has become the new reality of shipping. In the Black Sea, commercial ships have been struck by missiles. In the Red Sea, merchant vessels have been boarded, attacked by drones, and targeted by anti-ship weapons. Off the coast of Africa, piracy is once again returning. And through all of this, the global maritime industry continues operating because seafarers continue sailing. But here is the uncomfortable truth. The global system still treats merchant seafarers as commercially replaceable instead of strategically essential, and that needs to change. I believe the International Maritime Organization must now take stronger action to protect civilian mariners operating in conflict zones. How? First, seafarers must have protected right to refuse sailing through active war zones without the fear of losing their jobs. On the ground, seafarers feel real pressure if they refuse to sail through an HRA. This pressure includes blacklisting, denial of further employment, wage cuts, and career repercussions. No human being should be forced to choose between their livelihood and their survival. Second, we need an international conflict zone classification system for shipping. Threat information is fragmented between naval advisories, insurers, governments, and private intelligence firms. But when missiles are flying, confusion kills. The industry needs a globally recognized maritime threat level system so that every master and crew knows exactly what risks they are entering. The Universal Maritime Conflict Alert Scale could have 4 levels, such as: first, elevated tension; 2, drone or a missile threat; 3, active targeting of merchant ships; and finally 4, where you prohibit transit officially entering. Third, conflict zone compensation and insurance standards must become mandatory. If a seafarer is risking his life in transiting a missile threat area, then the hazard pay, the life insurance, trauma support, and family compensation should not depend on nationality or company generosity. 4. Merchant ships need better preparedness. Modern civilian ships are not trained to deal with drone warfare, electronic jamming, missile near misses, or coordinated attacks. We drill for fire, we drill for abandoned ship, but now we must also prepare crews for the realities of modern conflict at sea. Until very recently, there was no missile attack guidance available for any kind of ship worldwide. Now, recently, Stella Maris came out with their guidance document. A simple thing like to keep your mouth open in anticipation of a blast reduces your chances of internal injuries manifold. Stuff like this is not common knowledge. I had put out a video about this after talking to a commando friend of mine. But now we are getting there. We require comprehensive guidance to protect vessels against blasts. There is already an example of protected humanitarian maritime corridors. Similarly to protected humanitarian evacuation corridors for humans. These were for the grain shipments coming out of the Black Sea. We could have naval overwatch, AIS monitored lanes, air surveillance, and rapid emergency response protocols. The vessels which are carrying essential supplies, food, medicine, fuel, these should be allowed to transit and should be guarded by international navies. Because when shipping stops, entire nations feel it. And finally, the international community must stop normalizing attacks on civilian merchant ships. These are not military vessels. These are civilian crews. Fathers, mothers, sons, daughters. People who simply went to sea to earn a living. Being designated essential frontline workers will have many advantages for the seafarers, like compensation rights, evacuation priorities, family support, and possibly diplomatic protection. Let me think about it in another way. There was a brilliant initiative by the IMO which came out several years ago called the SID, or the Seafarers Identification Document, something that would identify you as a seafarer and as an essential worker. How would that help? This could ensure visa-free travel for seafarers when they are joining ship or signing off a ship. Unfortunately, most of the countries have not ratified this till date. Okay, now we come to the aspect of fixing accountability. A ship has been targeted. The ship carries a certain flag. If you attack the merchant ship of any country, you are declaring war on that country. The ship has crew of another country. You are killing the citizens of my country. You are declaring war on my country. Why do these countries not take the perpetrators to an international court and hold them accountable? This, if every ship-owning flag, if the flag state of every vessel which has been attacked starts taking the perpetrators to hold them accountable, we might see some difference. Yet, today, many seafarers transit some of the most dangerous waters on earth with less protection than almost any other frontline profession. And despite everything, they still sail. Because if seafarers stop, the world stops. So this message is not just for mariners, it is for governments, for regulators, for ship owners, for the IMO, and for every person whose daily life depends on global trade. The next time you see a ship on the horizon, remember this: there are civilian seafarers on board that vessel carrying the weight of global economy through war zones, while the world barely even knows their names. Remember that and stay safe.